me and Johnson back to back, didn't we? With everyone surrounded us.
You did, yeah. Well, Lewis was falling out with himself as well, if I remember. So it ended with a confrontation between Barwolf, Valkyn. Damian said his piece. There was tension in this house that you're staying in, as the burgomaster of Krezk, the fellow that invited you in, entered. So let me just give you the image of. Oh, you're on map tool.
I'm trying to connect. My laptop's just been a twat.
Okay, so it's the village scene. Oh, you're on, Jake. Right, so let's push this for you. So if you remember, Krezk is, compared to the other villages, I mean, Barovia was run down and shit. Mud everywhere, hardly anyone around, mostly deserted houses, overlooked by Castle Ravenloft. Vallaki, in comparison, was quite well populated, relatively light. People were out in the streets buying and doing the usual things. Krezk looks like you've stepped back in time. It's not mud huts, but you see the occasional hut with mud and grass on top, just because functionally it's best. People live with their pigs, they live with their livestock because it makes sense to do so.
I know the
Intimately. It sounds terrible, but the picture in the campaign, it's a lovely piece of art, and it's a black gentleman and his black wife, and I just don't like the artwork, so I've changed that to this is the more closer to the image of the burgomaster of Krezk that I've got. So he's older gentleman. He is dressed kind of for battle, but underneath there's peasant wear, and he's he's got an apron on that looks like a leatherworking apron and worn leather gloves, and you're more likely to see him with a hoe in his hand. Pause for jokes. No one's taking it. And as there's tension in this hut, it is the Baron, I want to say Krezkov, enters, and he looks around and sees you all, the tension in the room, and he'll just stand, and you can see his regal bearing as he squares his shoulders, and he'll say, "What is the meaning of this?" And he looks towards Brungrik.
breakfast.
Yeah, I can't remember the fall in there.
Oh, okay. So
yeah, I'm struggling to recall why we were arguing, because I don't remember Brungrik being directly involved.
Well, Brungrik wasn't necessarily involved, but you very much get the impression he's looking to you as you're the sort of go-to person so far.
Yeah.
In this band of people, he kind of knows you the best.
Yeah.
You know from the initial encounter with him that they don't allow people in at all unless it serves their purpose. Your purpose was the delivery of the wine.
Yeah.
As such, they allowed you access. And he's looking at you, you would guess, as the supposed leader of this bunch of lads who now are ready to draw weapons against each other.
So who was arguing with? Just remind me, guys, because I genuinely can't remember. Who was arguing with who about what?
So Barwolf.
So Barwolf went to. Oh,
go on, Jake.
Sorry, Dave.
Yeah, it's all right. I talk too much.
No, Barwolf was going to attack Valkyn, wasn't he? And I'd stood in to defend Valkyn. So me and I think Valkyn has come down with a curse following the cave, or he's picked something up, and we think he's potentially picked some cursed loot up because he's now having like howling wolf visions when he's sleeping.
Yeah.
And I think he told me about it, but
I remember.
I think he was just calling him out in. in general. I think him and Valkyn don't particularly see eye to eye because Valkyn's obviously a sneaky thief, and Barwolf's like sees himself as an honourable fighter. So like he was almost like calling Valkyn out on his ideals as well as just that in general.
So it wasn't a specific event per se. They were just having a general disagreement on the way they are as people.
Didn't
Well, I think
didn't
it
somebody
almost
have
came
a
to
Tim
swords.
Barwolf lunge at him or something?
Yeah, Barwolf tried to kill him, didn't he?
And then that's where Rillik got involved, didn't he? Like battered him back with his shield kind of thing, and that's where his hood came back.
Yeah.
He's a
And
wooden
then we found out.
man. Okay. Okay.
Oh,
Thank
I
you.
remember now.
I was like, I know there was an argument. Can't remember why there was an argument.
Yeah, I was getting a bit like that.
So Brungrik will turn to the Burgomaster and say, Burgomaster, apologies. It's an argument amongst work colleagues, a minor disagreement that has probably got a little bit out of hand. And as he's saying, he's emphasising the out of hand, and he's eyeballing
Pardon?
Beowulf and
Let me do it before I go to bed. I'll do it before I go to bed. Just leave it
Valkyn
there.
and Rillik. He's like, it's got out of hand. Like, everyone settle down. There's company now.
I think let's do it. Barwolf will kind of like do that whole and then like spit on the floor in front of Valkyn and walk off.
Sound.
He's a
Go on, Jake. Sorry, I keep interrupting you today.
No, it's okay. I was just going to say he's a vile creature, and look at Barwolf like storming off.
Okay, so as Brungrik is interacting with the Burgomaster Krezk, since this is as close as you've come to him, and now as he's entered the room, he's opened the door, lights hit, and your eyes are sort of adjusting to the new light in the room. You spot that he looks tired, more tired than you would expect. He looks withdrawn, and his eyes have this sort of redness around them that makes you think that he has actually been crying. And as the sort of tension eases, this sort of regal posture, he looks like a noble, and his shoulders slag slightly, and he looks a little bit crestfallen. And he just nods and he says, "Right, okay. Well,
Yeah.
I didn't bring you into my town to cause trouble. You're here because you offered a service. If I need you to leave, you will leave. Otherwise, you will obey the laws."
No, of course, it was merely a disagreement amongst travelling companions. I'll keep them in line. I've had some personal matters at which I've had to handle, which has distracted me, but I'll keep them in line in future. But if I may say so, you don't quite seem yourself from when we last met.
So at this, he sort of squares his shoulders again, and he looks up, and he sort of turns around, and you can see he's looking to see if anyone's near the doorway. Just out of earshot, you can see what I'd refer to as guards. You've seen them on the tower. I mean, these guards, they're in mismatched armor. They do have pikes and spears or a halberd. It's all mismatched, but they're out of earshot. And he turns back to you and he says, "Well, how much do you know about the village of Krezk? Specifically, have you heard of the abbot?"
It was a discussion we began when I first met you, but you refused is a strong word, but you didn't speak much more on the matter until we'd completed the wine delivery, and then I offered you aid with any issue you had with regards the Abbey. Is it an Abbey?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He says, "Yeah, matters have progressed somewhat. If I can just tell you the tale of the last week, my youngest boy, my last remaining boy, died, leaving no heirs for me and my wife. We buried Ilya a week ago when the abbot arrived. No one has seen the abbot for hundreds of years. We know he's in the monastery. The monastery bells ring all the time, and we hear the screams and the shouts and the howls coming from the monastery, but no one goes up there. 100 years go by, and yet he knocks on the door. 1 week ago, as Ilya passed away, he told me that the Morning Lord had sent him to revive the line of Krezk. We exhumed Ilya, and the abbot, just by laying hands on Ilya, brought him back to life. Me and my wife were overjoyed until 2 days ago. The abbot returned and asked for his payment. It was a bizarre payment. He wants a wedding dress delivered to the Abbey within 3 days. We have no way of providing this. And so I fear Ilya's fate is sealed. The abbot didn't say directly what the outcome would be if we did not deliver this wedding dress in 3 days, but it seems quite clear to me. Is there anything you could do to help, maybe?
And is the boy well at the moment?
The boy is well. And again, he's looking over his shoulders to make sure. He's suffered trauma. My wife is doing everything she can. Excuse me.
Is this just a conversation that's happening between Brungrik and the Burgomaster? Like nobody else can hear at the moment.
He's making sure that none of the Krezkians can hear, but he's very much opening this to you guys. As I mean, you've approached as a band of problem solvers, so he's opening it to all of you.
And did the abbot say?
Well, I assume the way he's saying it is it was implied that if he wasn't paid, his son would suffer the consequence. I mean, firstly, I would offer, and Brungrik, obviously, I am a man of many years. There is not much life left before I return to the halls of my ancestors and become one with the mountain. But as a follower of Pelor, I've experience with matters of healing and things like that, which I would quite willingly meet your child and see if there's anything I can do for him prior to maybe going and having a word with this abbot. I don't like this business. We don't charge for our services.
Well, surely Brungrik, the biggest concern is the fact that he is seeking payment, but the fact
I caught the payment bit, Jake, and then that was it.
Oh, I said surely one of the biggest problems is the fact that he's.
Try moving your mic close to your mouth. You cut out at the important bit.
Getting flashbacks of Dave that one time.
I think it's just my computer, because it's just like keeps. I don't know if my computer's.
Probably.
Oh yeah. We'd assume so if we knew what you're on about. It's full max headroom.
Reman's quite intrigued by this conversation that's going on, and pulls his hood back, pricks back his ears, and he's having a listen. Because
So yeah,
it's his sort of realm, bringing people back from the dead.
So I think that's what Damian says. Like, surely the biggest concern is the fact that this abbot is bringing people back from the dead, and the other thing is intended for
The wedding dress. Who's that intended for? Is that what you're asking, Jake? Yeah, I don't think that would spring to Brungrik's mind, because that sort of stuff happened prior to Brungrik joining the party.
Bringing people back.
He might be aware of it, but it wouldn't be the first thought. His first thought would be he's brought him back to life and he's trying to charge him with a weird thing. And is the boy healthy because he wants to keep the Burgomaster on side after he's just come in and seen this argument kicking off? he's trying to be the negotiator as well as the investigator.
Yeah, sure. Well, I'll give you sort of a couple of things that you would know. So, Reman first, you would know it's one of two things. It's either resurrection, it's either back to life, or it's animation. Undead life. Obviously, your ears prick up, and yeah, you're right. You know, I assume Reman would be like, oh, okay, which one? For Brungrik, I would assume as a follower of Pelor, as a follower of light, as this discussion went forward, it sounds like a raise. Raise spells always cost. And the cost is usually the material component is normally specifically a diamond, a very expensive diamond, depending
Revivify,
on yeah. So Revivify is a 300 gold. I mean, that's
something like that. Because we've got one, and I'll be able to cast it once. So that's what I mean. I'm aware of the Revivify side of it. It's just more the fact that he's chasing for a wedding dress, and he hasn't said, "I'm going to need this crystal, and I can bring you something back to life with it." Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's that side of it, which is why I've seen he wants to go and investigate the abbot.
Okay.
But he's also, like I say, he's trying to be the negotiator. So, well, let me have a look at your son, see if there's anything I can do to help. And then we'll go, in the meantime, and then we'll go deal with the abbot. That's what I mean. He's negotiating by putting forward good faith. I'll look at your son, see if I can help, as well as going, this isn't right for me as a cleric. I can't speak about the raising of the undead. I want to go and speak to the abbot about that bit.
Sure. Let's just make sure I get his name right. I'm sure he's Baron Krezk. So Baron Krezk will say to you, I understand and suspected that you would wish to see Ilya and the Baroness, and I'm more than happy to escort you there. Come. Let me show you to them. Who's going then? Who's going to go and have a recce, or are you all?
Well, I know that Brungrik doesn't really get on with Reman, and Reman would ask if he would mind me tagging along, but he wouldn't. If Brungrik said nah, I wouldn't be offended.
Okay.
I think as much as Brungrik doesn't like Reman's raising the dead acts, he would be intrigued for him to be there in case he doesn't understand. He is a practical man, and he knows he doesn't know everything, and that if it's not what he knows, Reman might know what's gone on. He might have the answer, so he would be open to Reman being there only on a practical. He might not make that aware to the Burgomaster, but it's from a practical point of view, his line of thinking.
Sure. Okay, brilliant. So Valkyn is very much, he's sort of still a little bit angry, and he skulks off to the corner somewhere and starts poking through his pouches. So he's not bothered about going. Damian or Rillik gonna tag along?
I mean, I think Damian would be interested in it, but he also doesn't want to leave Valkyn in the proximity of Barwolf.
I think
Barwolf's
still
still
wants to go purely because what's happened to him, how he's all of a sudden become bonded to this doll.
Sure.
Something's not quite right, is it? So he's a bit intrigued.
Okay.
If we're all going, then we'll all go.
Yeah. So the Baron will lead you. It's only a short distance away. You get the impression that he's sort of putting you up in his outhouse, or not outhouse, but his granny flat at the back. Outhouse makes it sound like he's putting you up in his shitter, doesn't it? That's not what he's doing.
Outbuildings.
Yeah. So we'll lead you round to. I mean, this is the Burgomaster's mansion. It's indistinguishable from the rest of the huts, houses. There's livestock in there, chickens and pigs running around. There's trees growing all the way around it. A plot of root vegetables in the back, and he leads you to a separate room, small room where his wife and his young son are. Soon as you enter, the first thing that you pick up is an aroma of. In fact, let's have a group medicine check. Oh, check that out. Never done that before.
That'll be a 25 on a nat 20, dude. And I'll be rolling shit for the rest of the night.
That one.
So you cancelled each other out. Nice one. So Rillik. Okay. Right, so that puts your average about 13. Okay, so you get, between you sort of casting glances at each other, you have all smelled this before. You've all been to large cities. This is the smell that you would associate with infection. Something is not right here. The wife looks hale, but the boy looks pallid. He's a little bit clammy. You'd put him, he's perhaps a 13-year-old boy, but you can tell the clothes he's wearing, they're his clothes, but they look too big for him. He does seem to be wasting away a little bit. He's got a bit of a cough about him as you walk into the room. The Baroness looks towards Krezk, and he sort of nods and gestures forwards, and he'll say, Ilya, these gentlemen have just come to make sure that you're okay. Just do as they ask. What do you want to do?
Well, have a look, have an assess to see if what sort of, if he is just ill with something, and if we know how to fix it, or if it's something more on the magical scale. Is it related to the spell that brought him back?
Reman's going to follow Brungrik, but at a respectable distance to his rear, so that he knows he's there, but he's not interfering.
Sure. So let's have let's have another medicine check from you then, Sam. You can have it with advantage, because what I'm going to do is I'm assuming that Reman is using his help action to, just sort of stand over as Brungrik's talking out loud. You might mutter something or other, and Reman perhaps say, yeah, good thinking, but also type thing.
Yeah.
14.
So told you we were going to roll that well.
Yeah. 14 still not bad. So as far as you can tell, this is a living, breathing young boy. You can see the rise and fall of his chest. You can see the. It's a cold. Krezk is quite high up, so it's a little bit snowy, and you can see the steam come out of him. But his eyes are sunken. If it wasn't for the rise and fall and the steam, you would assume that he was not alive. He looks pallid enough to still be in the grave. In terms of injuries, you have a sort of quick recce. Nothing obvious. No wounds. No rashes, no scars, nothing visible, no deformities of any description. 14, you would then assume with your medicine check, this is possibly a malady of the mind as opposed to the body.
Okay. Is there a way to, with his experience, maybe I'm thinking from an arcana side of things or magical side of things, whether he'd be able to recognise whether it was revivify or if this is more of a raise the undead scenario.
Well, you would, with the very description, because obviously you can cast Revivify, so you know Revivify. Yeah. With the description of Ilya being dead for a week, you know that this is more powerful than
Right,
Revivify without a roll.
Okay.
So you would be looking at Raise Dead, which is well beyond your scope.
Yeah.
I say well beyond your scope. Yeah, it's reasonably still beyond your scope.
He may have once had the power, but doesn't anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, and Reman would know the same as well. Living, breathing boy, not undead. But this is some powerful divine magic. And the thing, it occurs to Reman, obviously, and you'd sort of, as you and Brungrik are swapping ideas, the fact that this was cast without the material component is unusual.
Mm.
Kill him, burn him with fire.
So what was the boy's name?
Damian's had his say.
What was the boy's name?
Ilya.
So Brungrik will look at Ilya and say, "What troubles you, lad?" And it'll be softly spoken, as you've seen he has with children before and things. He says, "You seem fine of body. You are unwell, but nothing too bad that I can see. How do you feel in yourself?"
He sort of he gives a little cough, and he'll turn to you, and he's looking towards his parents for reassurance, and they both nod, and he'll sort of say in this very reedy, weak voice, he'll sort of say, "It's the voices. The voices come."
What voices?
The voices in the mist. When I left, I entered the mist, and the voices still sometimes talk.
You still hear the voices from when you spent time in the mist?
He nods.
And did you see anything while you were in the mist?
Just flashes, faces, and you can see he's sort of holding on to his mum now. Just faces flashing past, always, sometimes screaming, sometimes laughing, always voices. Voices
Do you,
that still come.
do you see the flashes and the faces now?
No, just hear the voices.
Do they sound like they're in the room with you?
He sort of
do they
taps his head and he says, "In here."
Yeah, I think Brungrik, or is it? And is this since you awoke again?
He nods.
Brungrik will give him a reassuring sort of, tap and say, get some rest. I think you need some rest and a good meal. That usually fixes most things. And he'll look at the burgomaster and sort of outside the door, and smile at him as he walks away. So sort of reassure him,
yeah,
that rest and a good meal will probably fix it.
a good bluff.
Yeah, trying to bluff the kid, basically.
Yeah, sure. Okay, fine. So you guys leave Ilya, and unless anyone's got anything else they want to do with Ilya and the Baroness.
Yeah, I'm just having a quick. But to be fair, I could probably do it from outside anyway. So we can carry on going outside for the conversation.
Sure. Okay, so you walk a short distance away to perhaps to the adjoining room. The burgomaster will prepare some wine for you. He'll set up a glass of wine for you, and he'll say, "Oh, thanks for looking. What do you think? Is there anything you can do?"
Physically speaking, though, he looks like he needs a good meal. Everything seems as it should. I think what affects.
There's maybe one further check I would like to conclude. I feel Rillik may be of use though. You are a paladin, I'm right in thinking.
Yeah, Rillik will nod.
I feel we need to confirm that he is not undead.
Rillik will nod.
Maybe you could channel some of your god's power into figuring out whether he is or isn't.
Okay. So Rillik will nod again, and he'll cast Divine Sense.
Yes, your divine sense is telling you that there is evil everywhere. You're in Barovia, but there's nothing specific coming from the other room. There's no ping on your scope anywhere within range, and you're well within range of Ilya.
Okay. So Rillik will basically say, I detect no evil from that child.
So maybe he's not undead then. So maybe the resurrection spell has worked. He's back to his normal form.
I think Brungrik says to the Burgomaster, I think what affects your son is the hardest injury to heal, and it's an injury of the mind. He is plagued by what he has seen after he died, and that, I'm afraid, can only be fixed with time. Because I assume there is no psychiatry in Barovia. Even though a therapist would make a fortune in Barovia.
Well, there's a spin-off, isn't there?
That's it. I could retire as a therapist.
So,
Come and have a beer with
Irene,
Brungrik.
Tell me about your pies.
how's it going, Irene? You've come for your 977th shrink session.
Brungrik could start a podcast and call it Beer with Brungrik.
Um,
On wellness. And...
I tell you what, Sam, give me. No, you know what? I'm going to give you this for free. You would have heard of similar cases back in the as a younger cleric. You would have gone on sort of mercy missions to madhouses and things of that nature. Again, out of your realm as it stands,
Yeah.
but a greater restoration spell would help. That is, I believe, a 5th level spell.
That's a good question.
But you know, for what you have access to and what you're capable of, then yeah. So you're
so he would then, that would be what he would then follow up with, is that at the minute it's time. There is magic that can solve it. It's just beyond my grasp.
Okay.
And maybe tell him if you meet a cleric or another magic user that has access, or someone that you can come across has access to a spell that we call Greater Restoration, that may aid the boy.
So you would also be aware that Van Richten is capable of such a feat.
Oh,
I was going to say.
and where is he when we need him?
I didn't want to drop his name.
No.
Because obviously he's asked us to keep his name stum.
So is it classed as a disease then? Or
No, it's a form of madness. I know what you're saying, Lou. It's a shame. I mean, don't get me wrong. He's still poorly. This is but an illness of the mind as opposed to the body, which is a shame, because I know you could just lay on hands and it'll be done. But
yeah.
In terms of the mists, having been able to traverse the mists, have I ever been able to hear these voices?
Yeah, you. I'll tell you what. Then let's have a history check from Damian.
Yeah.
Just a flat one.
Uh, 15.
Okay. Yes. Not only that, you've heard stories of people being returned to life. You know, you live in a D&D world. There are such things as resurrections. It does happen, and you know that people that have been resurrected in the mists have all heard of all told stories of these voices in the mists. In fact, Rillik would have first hand. Rillik Niloren and Alanonl would have first-hand experience of these voices.
I've got a feeling there was a conversation about it when we spoke to Niloren and Rillik, and I feel like we were told that, so that's why I sort of act like I wasn't surprised that he'd seen these voices in the mists.
I think so as well. Yeah.
I've got a feeling we had been told that, because I wasn't surprised when you told me.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, so I think well, I think now Damian knows that he's not undead. I think it's just from his previous experiences now in Barovia that people keep coming back, but that he seems to be come back as undead. He knows the boy's not undead. He's kind of a little bit more, maybe less hostile about trying to kill him or being even considering it. So he'd probably move on to questioning the Burgomaster about the abbot and saying, like, what race is the abbot?
He's human. He's dressed in a simple monk's robe. How can I describe him? He has clean alabaster skin, curly blonde hair, and his eyes. The eyes, just the look of. The only way I can describe it is just wholly light from his eyes.
But his age is not befitting of somebody that has lived for 100 years. His appearance is not something befitting of somebody who has lived 100 years. Our kind do not live for that period of time.
He hasn't aged, not one day.
I was nearly going to pass comment and go, watch it. Brungrik's nearly 200 years old.
So the fact that he is of this appearance speaks that there is something amiss.
Just looking what condiment Miller's getting.
That's some nice
Shut
looking
up, Miller.
baps there, Miller.
I made these burgers myself before we started.
Oh, I'm hungry now. I'm going to have me Nick from hospital ginger rings.
Do you want a drink?
Those ones that fall into your pockets.
Do you want some Coke?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know the type.
No, it was from CCU. We had an MI last night that we got in successfully,
nice.
so they weren't pilfered. I was actually given to them.
No.
I was going to say, A&E at the minute, they've now put a sign on the box saying for patient use only.
Not guilty.
So I had to go against the rules. But yeah, so I think that would be Damian's biggest question is this abbot seems unnatural and there's something dodgy about him.
So Baron is nodding along and say, "Yeah," and this is the dilemma at the minute. What do we do? Can you help us? To my mind, with 3 days to somehow materialize a wedding dress. Now, you've seen the village. There are no seamstresses here. There are no fine clothes here. There's certainly no wedding dress. We are aware
The temperature is it
that
nice?
there might be such a thing in Vallaki.
Well, that was going to be my next question. Is how will we know how far away Vallaki is, roughly?
To get to Vallaki and return in 3 days, you would need fast horses.
Okay.
And you'd probably need to run them into the ground, or you'd need that kind of speed to get there and back. Bearing in mind that you've got to find this dress in the first place.
It's practically undoable. It'd be Tom Cruise's 8th Mission Impossible.
Do you mean unwatchable then?
Wow.
But what is a wedding dress in Barovia?
Well,
that is the main question.
I think.
Yeah, go on. Sorry.
Oh. No. Carry on, Dave. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, it's okay. I was having a biscuit. Because it's a valid question. So, Krezk would turn to Rillik, and he'll sort of, other than sort of taking in your general appearance and looking like, oh, what the fuck's going on with you, wood boy? He will say, well, to be honest, I didn't think to ask the question. Normally, a wedding dress in Barovia is the best dress that you have. It's finery, and it's normally something that's passed from mother to daughter through generations. What with the fact that it's difficult to find fine things in Barovia, it needs to be a fine dress. But I think any would do.
I think Reman would ask why he has to produce a wedding dress for his son.
It's the wedding dress is to be given to the abbot as payment. That's all he asked for. We don't know why.
Well then, maybe it's time we ask the abbot.
I agree. I feel I want to meet this supposed holy man and question his intentions.
That was my line.
Well,
I'm the one that's going to get pissed off over religion.
You can get pissed off about the religion. We'll give him that. We'll give him the good cop, bad cop routine, but we'll both be bad cop.
Bad and worse cop.
I feel like since Rillik's come back from the dead now, Rillik's playing a good cop.
Rillik's a bit fucked in the head at the minute, isn't he?
Does Rillik have a mouth?
Yeah.
As if you're picturing that, Sam.
Well, no, I was just thinking Luke's been really quiet. Is this because he's saying that the wooden doll that is now Rillik doesn't have a mouth?
No, he does. It's very like
picture the Nutcracker.
I thought you were just going on the fact that he said getting fucked
it's
in the
more
head.
that if you could imagine like the mouth opening kind of thing, it only opens slightly, but there's no movement. It's just words coming out. It's a doll basically, just with a Rillik's soul in it.
Okay.
We do not know how it works. It just does.
Mate, there's magic. That's fine.
The one thing that I'm really worried about is obviously your little lady friend coming back for you.
Bow, chicka, bow, bow.
To be fair, I don't think what she's done with the doll while you've been.
Well,
we never collected it, did we?
No.
Is this not the doll that was made of you?
Yep.
Well, we'll have to go back to Valkyn and find out what happens. Dun, dun, dun.
There's
yeah,
no.
I think
no.
it's a challenge against the abbot, isn't it, for us?
Yeah.
So that's the plan then, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we need.
So it's at this point that I'd like us to do a little bit of housekeeping then. So in terms of the narrative, we'll leap to the characters that you won't be taking forwards. So in order of my screen here, so Lewis, what is happening to Barwolf? How is Barwolf's story sort of leaving the party, or what's going to happen?
He basically doesn't trust everybody now. I think ever since the Wolves' Den, when with Valkyn, he kind of thinks, well, you've brought this on yourself. You're endangering everybody now. He's very honourable, and then all of a sudden, this guy with a whip has just stood in defence of this person that could cause him harm and everybody in this village harm, and he just does not agree with it. And then basically, like, he's charged, and then this wooden puppet thing's just smashed him halfway across the ground with his shield backwards. So he's I don't know, to be perfectly honest.
Feels a bit outcast from the group.
He does, yeah. He does feel outcast. I'm just trying to think of the only thing I could possibly think of, personally, is while everybody's doing what they're going to be doing in the next little bit and everything, I'd like to think he'd probably have an attempt at Valkyn, They're trying to do him in
Okay.
for the
Right.
greater good kind of thing.
Right. Right. Gotcha. Do me a favour. Everyone forget that Lewis has said that. And leave it with me, Lewis. Okay? But for all intents and purpose, Barwolf has said his goodbyes to the rest of the party. So, a question for you. Obviously, Valkyn, he now hates. Is he attempting to leave on good terms with anyone, or is he just turning his back, burning his bridges?
Yeah, I think he is. I think he's turning back and burning bridges because he's everybody's jumped to defend Valkyn, even though they know he's stolen, he's done this to himself, he's endangered other people, he doesn't agree with his ways, and
But
they're
in all fairness, Reman hasn't jumped to Valkyn's
I was going to
defense.
say Brungrik and Reman weren't involved.
No, but you're very like Brungrik's too noble, as in he can find goodness in anybody.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, he tries at least.
Yeah, and Reman, well, he's just a creepy cunt, isn't he? So,
Yeah, whereas I think Barwolf's quite black and white, isn't he?
Yeah.
And whereas Brungrik allows that little bit of grey in there somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, let's not forget, Barwolf is still technically in charge of all the werewolves as well at the moment. Technically, we didn't really.
What's left, yeah.
To be discussed, Mr. Bowler. I'm enjoying that. Let's move on to Alanonl then. So where's Alanonl's story going to go?
Well, he's almost at the beginning of where Ramon's story started. I think he's gone through this huge tragedy and trauma. He's come back into Barovia, still stuck, and it's really messed with his mind, and he's got to go off and sort his noggin out. Whether or not he comes back like a Reman, or his mindset is, he certainly understands Reman's mentality, because obviously Reman's been there for so long. He's lost party members and what have you, which is what turned Reman to as he is. He's going to part ways and do a bit of soul searching.
Wicked, like that. And then Niloren.
So the plan I had come up with was, obviously I'm aware that we were going to go into the Abbey at some point, and the way I thought about it is Niloren would have argued the case that he should continue on, as it was originally his mission. He has to see his mission through. And Brungrik would have been like, "Don't be stupid. Look what happened. I'm at the end of my life. You've got your whole life ahead of you. I will see this mission done. Even if it kills me, that's fine. I may as well go out with a bang," that sort of thing. And then there would have been a bit of fatherly browbeating of, "Listen, you'll do as you're goddamn told," which is probably what's left them on a sour patch. But the intention was to deal with the Abbey and to leave Niloren there, assuming it was sanctified ground, because that would keep him safe until Brungrik could figure out how we get back to home, to get Niloren home and out of Barovia.
Okay, nice.
And it also gives him a place to heal and recuperate. And
right, obvious question for me then, Sam. For as you move forwards right now, is Niloren still coming along with you, or are you sort of right? Okay.
Yeah, so the intention was Brungrik will go and see what the deal is with the Abbey, because he'd made the offer in the way back when to come and deal with it. So that is his mission to complete. And then he would turn around to the Burgomaster and say, "Look, this is Niloren. Yes,
Right.
he's not of your church, but he is of the Church of Pelor. He's a good guy. Let him run the Abbey. Let us resolve our other issues, and we'll give you time to find someone to take over the Abbey that was the angle he was going to play.
Wicked.
But his intention was to leave him in the Abbey, where in theory he should be safe.
Yeah.
If it's sanctified ground, until Brungrik can figure out how to get him home.
Okay, smashing. So obviously Barwolf's going to walk out. He's burned his bridges. He's gone. He's physically removed himself. So same question for Alanonl then, Miller. Sorry, mate, you're probably halfway through your burger, but
you're right.
where physically is Alanonl going to go? Or stay, in fact.
I think he'll probably stay for the time being. He's not in a quest mindset at the moment. He's just come back from the dead. I think he understands what the Burgomaster's lad is going through, so he's probably going to offer his services to the Burgomaster for the time being.
Again, wicked. Yeah, that's three good narratives. I like those. Yeah. Okay, so all three surplus characters sorted. The five of you now with Valkyn set off towards the Abbey. So let's give you a few more images then. So if you remember, I'll take you back to the overview. These are all art, pieces of art that people have done. This isn't part of the actual campaign. So this was on approach to the walls of Krezk. There's the solid walls. Main feature that you could see over the walls are the trees. These trees are used for wood, for everything, for buildings and all the rest of it. You've got this winding path going up the hill. This is the Abbey on the top. You can every now and again you hear the peal of the bells ringing, and every now and again you can hear either a scream or a wail, or sort of like it's a very, very maniac type scream. This again is fan art, and this was a lovely piece.
I've got a picture of some poor priest having his balls banged by a bell going, oh. What is that? It's the bells. Don't worry about it.
Do we have to do this every hour?
So this is as you approach. Obviously, you're not quite there yet, but that's how we're sort of envisaging the Abbey as you do approach. It's a little bit higher than this, but there's a wall around it that you can see from the vantage from low down. What I will give you is an overview of the village of Krezk. Normally, this is the type of map that I'd set out vision blocking, so you can only see a certain amount. But you can get a good view, and the Krezk would tell you most of it. So that's the front gatehouse there. This is the Svalich road that leads up. This is now snow. There's snow everywhere. And that's your front gate. Inside, you've had a sort of a recce around. You've got sort of Burgomaster's mansion is one of these. It's like I say, let me zoom in a little bit. There we go. The path goes up to the gates of the Abbey, and he's explained that there's an enclosure. There's a graveyard at the back. There's sort of two main buildings. Between the two, there's a pool. This pool, as you walk past, there's sort of like a pagoda and a little garden. It looks very peaceful and respectful, and it's a clear, looks like a mountain lake, but it's actually just a small pool. But it looks like really clear water, and that's the water source for the whole village. So how are we approaching? Are you going straight away? Are you going now? What do you want to do?
You've said there's two buildings.
Yeah.
Do we know what the two buildings are? Like, is one the church and the other is accommodation? Is it? Do you know what I mean? Is it?
Yeah. Yes. He will tell you that the smaller of the two buildings is a main hall. So no one has been to the Abbey for 100 years since the abbot arrived. But from his ancestors, the Krezkovs, is the line that has run Krezk for hundreds and hundreds of years. So he would have had information passed to him. The smaller of the two buildings is the main hall. The second of the buildings was always the hospital wing.
Okay. We will not be going in the hospital then.
Are
I've
we?
played Silent Hill.
How,
I've played Resident Evil. I've watched The Walking Dead. I've seen a lot of shit. We ain't going in the hospital.
Brungrik hasn't.
how are we getting there? Are we walking up or?
It's normally a walk up there. Yeah, it's a very steep mountain path, but it's a clearly laid out path that zigzags backwards and forwards.
So in just with just one question that Damian would have, then it'd be like, has the Burgomaster come up with us, or has it just left the five of us?
The Burgomaster will, if you're going there, he will leave you in the village.
Oh right, okay. That okay. Changes things a bit. So I was just going to ask him where was he resurrected, but obviously if he's not here, then it's pointless asking.
Well, you don't have to be up yet. You can still be down talking. So we've not moved forwards. We're making plans to move up, Jake. So that's fine. Where was he resurrected?
But I guess for me, like I wouldn't have known. I wouldn't have known what the building structure was like, so I wouldn't have known whether he was resurrected in the hospital, the etc.
Well, you mean Ilya?
Yeah.
Ilya was resurrected at the graveside. So after they exhumed the body, so as he told you the story, the abbot told them to exhume the body by the graveside. As the body was exhumed, the casket lid opened. Then the abbot laid hands on Ilya, a sort of a golden glow, and Ilya was brought back to life at the graveside.
Right,
and
okay.
This is the village graveside, not the graveyard of the Abbey.
Right, okay.
Well, if we're going up to the Abbey, once we get closer, within 100 feet, and I can use Damian, but obviously then I lose all my senses during that time, so I would need guidance through that. But I could use Damian to have a little scout around the Abbey, see what's going on.
Okay, so the five of you marching up.
Yeah, the only one other thing Damian would say, and he might say this to Brungrik, and he'd kind of be like, the Taroka card states about looking for a house with, the holy house with, where potentially there might be a weapon of sunlight, and maybe this is the place that we need to be coming for the weapon that we can use against Strahd.
It would make sense.
This isn't the Amber Temple, is it?
No, but that's looking for something different.
Yeah, that's something completely different.
Yeah,
that's potentially looking for an.
Yeah, I can't remember the wording on the card now. I know exactly which one you mean, Jake.
I'm pretty sure it's the sword. I think we discussed it before we came back in, but it's.
You and I have discussed it. Maybe not in front of every. Swords. No, not
Yeah,
that
so
one.
it says there is a
Card of power, the glyphs. One of glyphs, the monk. The treasure you seek is hidden behind the sun in the house of a saint. This is a card of power and strength. It tells of a weapon of vengeance, a sword of sunlight. That was the card that we were talking about. Yeah.
So I think while Damian's walking up, and I mean it's called the Saint of Markovia, Abbey of Saint Markovia. So I think Damian would be looking for windows or anything that might highlight a sun, because obviously it says hidden behind the sun in the house of the Saint. So he'd be looking for kind of any of the stained glass that might have, or the murals on the wall that might have suns on there.
Okay.
And he'd maybe encourage the rest of the group to keep their eyes open as well for the same thing.
So as you're approaching and as you're getting closer, it does get colder. It's distinctly colder the higher you get, to the fact where your normal clothes aren't really cutting it. Even your young adventurous blood is you're wanting to wrap your cloaks around you. Excuse me. Pardon me. So let me give you and any other preparation, or is it the 5 of you on approach to the Abbey? Yeah. So the road from the village climbs above the mist to the wide ledge on which the Abbey is perched. A light dusting of snow covers the trees and the rocky earth. The gravel road passes between 2 small stone outbuildings to either side, of which stretches a 5-foot-high, 3-foot-thick wall of jumbled stones held together with mortar. Blocking the road are iron gates attached to the outbuildings by rusty hinges. They appear to be unlocked. Viewed from the gate, the stone abbey stands quiet. Its 2 wings are joined by a 15-foot-high curtain wall. A belfry protrudes from the roof of the closer northern wing, which also sports a chimney billowing grey smoke. So, what I'm going to do, I'm going to take just one of your tokens. Who's the nearest one? What have I got? Brungrik appears to be the closest one. So, what I'm going to do is take Brungrik for a wander. Okay, let me center your map for you then. So, you got an image?
Yep.
No, not yet.
Okay.
There we go.
See if I can reset it. Anything, Andy?
No, numbers are going up.
Okay. If I keep refreshing it, it might.
There you go. Got one.
Yeah. So the road. This is the village down here. You've gone along this snaking, winding path, and you can make out more of the building as you go. These are sort of outcroppings from the main building. This is the wall around the abbey. The main building. I don't want to give you too much all in one go. So the main building is here, which you can see above the wall. You can see a few trees dotted around as well. Here and here, you've got 2 outbuildings, and you've got this iron gate that seems to be open here. I'm just going to take Brungrik just around the other side to give you everything to the north. That's the steep decline into the Svalich Woods to the north of Krezk. So this is all wooded area. There's no village. There's no signs of life here. As you sort of come around, we'll put you around here. As you're looking around, there's nothing obvious. There's no movement. As it stands, the bell isn't currently ringing, but from here is the smoke, as if a chimney, as a fire is lit inside.
And from what we understand, the hospital, would be back here.
That's exactly where it is. That's a little bit freaky, Sam. Well done.
Well,
it was a guesstimate.
If we're playing battleships, dude, you've just sunk mine.
Brungrik would logically suggest we go into the main hall first, not just because of the smoke, but I'm assuming when we say main hall, we mean the main. I'm trying to think of the right word for a bloody church. Where you pray. That would be the logical place to start for him.
Chapel.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, you know what I mean.
Can I from here? Can I send back Damon ahead using my telepathic skills and that? I can look out to 100 meters from. If I'm at the entrance, 100 meters in, and I can have a good scout around and see what's happening. That takes me to about here.
Wicked. That's not a problem at all. Let me just
I can see and hear anything that's going on.
Okay.
Up to 100 meters.
What I'll do then. And how are you going to do this then? What's the plan? What are you? Because obviously you can't move. You have to totally zone out.
Well, I become like attuned to Bat Damon, so I can see and hear through him. He obeys my command, so I'm just going to say, right, go and have a out to your limit, like 100 meters. Have a good fly around, see what's sort of around here.
Okay,
that's sort of like the 100.
What's Reman doing during this time though? You stood still, zoned out.
Yeah, I lose lose my senses. I could be guided.
Yeah, gotcha.
They could grab my arm and drag me somewhere, but I'm not in my body, so to speak.
Okay, so we'll say
that's my answer.
Lights are on, but no one's home.
Yeah, we'll say for future use then that they're sort of guiding you like an old man and you're continuing forward. So I'm going to use your token. So this isn't Brungrik moving, but this is opening the map up a little bit. So I'm going to pop you on the inside. So what I'm going to need is a perception check from Bat Damon, please.
Right. Do I do that as Reman or?
No. What's Bat Damon's? Has he got a perception ability, or it'll be wisdom? A wisdom check if.
Has he got? Where's his token? I might be able to do it on map tools. I can't do it. I haven't got anything for Bat Damon on.
Didn't we stick it on the character? It might be one of those things that's worth doing now. And so my campaigns. Emas. Extras, no, we've not added it. So let's manage extras. And he's a bat, isn't he?
He is, yeah.
Bat. Okay, so if you just refresh Reman's character sheet, or in fact just go to extras.
Where's extras?
So
on the menu.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, extra creatures.
Yeah, so you should have bat, skeleton, zombie. Yeah. So your passive perception is 11, but your wisdom is 12, so a modifier of 1. So best way to do it is either, if I don't know if you can roll on that, or if you just roll a d20, add 1 would be his perception.
I don't know. I don't think. I've got strength, dexterity, constitution, institution, wisdom, and charisma. So what do you want me to roll? Sorry, yeah.
Well, because your wisdom score, perception is wisdom based. So if you roll d20, add 1. So you know that Bat Damon's wisdom is 12.
12 plus 1.
So the modifier is plus 1. So if you roll d20 and add 1.
Oh, if I roll with wisdom, let's see if I can roll. No, that doesn't do anything. So roll a 20 plus 1, yeah?
Yeah.
Not 20.
Right. So as
go Bat Damon.
So with Bat Damon's senses, you pick up straight away that there's movement in both of these two towers, one in each, and there's a humanoid figure in each of these rooms. One appears to be concealed, hood up, hunched over, with a shawl around. The second appears to be it's a weird image that you get back from Bat Damon. Both of these creatures, it's a natural fucking 20. Both of these creatures, I'll use the word, humanoids. It's closer to creatures than humanoids. they are dressed in rags, but the distinguishing features of both is they have different body parts. One of them has ears of, one ear is human, the other ear is of a wolf. There's a snout and fangs similar to a wolf. The arms and hands are human, but the legs and feet seem leonine. And it's got the tail of a donkey. The second one that's haunched over, in fact, I'm going to give you the images of both of them. The second one is one of her eyes is feline. Fingers and hands resembles cat's paws with opposable thumbs. Her face is, the left side of her face is that of a lizard. The right side of that is a wolf. These are strange amalgamations of different types of creature. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to move the tokens to the middle because I've put the artwork from the campaign onto the tokens. So, just here.
Okay.
If you can see the tokens. Yeah.
Very
So
odd.
this one in the north, is it North Tower? I forget where they.
Yeah,
It's not. It's actually, we'll call it North. It's one of these maps that they've done on the sound. So North is actually here, South's over here, but we'll call it North Tower.
As we're looking at it.
Yeah. So the one in the North Tower seems to be preening themselves, and it's quite an elaborate sort of, like a cat would clean itself. But this is with arrogance, and the one in the South Tower seems to be wanting to shy into the shadows. And as the sort of, obviously there's no bright sunshine, but as the clouds and the mist shift and there's a hint of sunlight, this other one's sort of shying away from it. In terms of everything else, you can see the building. There's smoke arising from the main building itself. Natural fucking 20. You can see, or Bat Damon would be aware that there's a courtyard here. So there's doors. In fact, let me take Brungrik a little bit further. So there's doors which enter the courtyard, and as Bat Damon's flying around, you can sense movement. What's the distance? Yeah, okay. Because obviously Bat Damon can fly as well, so you can see there's another of these strange amalgamation of creatures in the courtyard here that seems to be tied to a post. You can't get close enough to make much else out.
Okay. So with that, I'm going to obviously recall Bat Damon back to it, or I'm going to come out of my trance and I'm going to explain that to everybody else, what I've seen within the grounds, and let them make their minds as to what I've seen.
Sure.
As if things couldn't have already got weirder.
Yeah. Do we go with the attempt diplomatic? Call them out.
Hello, is anybody in there? No.
Well, no, just outright say that we know that they're there.
Show yourselves, vile creatures.
I guess we don't know that they're going to try and cause us harm. We just know that they're hiding, don't we?
Yeah.
They're not going to, because Adam Johnson's not here. They might do next session.
No one to rob them blind.
Do we just call them out as we know they're there?
What about if we approach the gate and just carry on rather than? But if we just try and approach the Abbey and see if they do anything.
But that's what I'm saying. Come up to the gate and sort of say, "You there in the towers? We're about the burgomaster's business. We're here to see the abbot. We know you're in there."
Yeah, call their bluff before they show themselves, sort of thing.
Removes the chance to ambush us.
Pull a bit of an Aragorn on
Got Mouth of Sauron.
him.
Okay, that's the deal then. So as you approach, who's going to step forward? Who's going to is it Brungrik that's going to call him out?
Kind of makes sense as the holy person.
Sure.
As he lanes more weight to the whole. I'm here to see the abbot business.
Sure. Let's pop you some lads on then. There's Rillik's token. Yay.
He's back.
And where's Valkyn? Valkyn Shady. Oh wait a minute. I'm not visible. Okay. Right. So as you approach and Brungrik calls out, this figure at the north spins round the corner. Other than just looking purely bizarre, this amalgamation, this sort of mongrel figure, dressed in rags, as he sweeps round the corner, it's almost it's the best way I can describe it is as if a thespian actor has swept onto the stage in sort of a grandiose gesture, and as he tries to straighten, and he sort of flings his sort of cloak around his shoulder, you get the waft of shit and dirt coming from him, and everything about this this creature, other than his actual countenance, tells you that it's wrong. And as he sweeps back, it's sort of like a sort of barking speech, but he tries to sound as grand as possible. And he'll say, "Greetings, welcome to the Abbey. I am Otto. This is my sister. And this other figure, you can just see, looks round the corner, and now that he's mentioned sister, you realise, holy shit, this is a female. It really doesn't look like it. And Otto will say, "We haven't had visitors for some time," and it's the barking noise. It's everything about this whole scene is just wrong. What do you want to do?
Oh, Valkyn's got a chance for somebody at least.
Hey.
It's great when no one's here. What kind of accent shall I give Valkyn?
Oh,
Dave, I want you to do your gnome again.
Is it me little gnome?
yeah.
It's me wee little gnome accent.
I was thinking more Frank Spencer.
I'm an emo kid, and I can't find love. Raw.
Nice. Right. Okay. That's the winner.
He sat there with his MySpace page.
Yeah. So he flicks his hair out of the way, and all of a sudden his mask drops, and you can see mascara. Manscara.
Like the crazy goth kids at South Park.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go sit in my bedroom and listen to some Panic at the Disco and My Chemical Romance.
Bit of Evanescence.
They're all good bands. Leave them alone.
I like I've been to see Evanescence, actually. She's crazy.
Yeah.
Right. So this sort of these two mongrel figures, one trying to hide away from you, the other one thinks he's the mutt's nuts and looks pretty much muttish as well. What do you want to do?
We're here to see the abbot.
But the abbot is here to see you. Enter, friends. And he throws his robe over his shoulder again, and he just starts plodding off. The first one, she sort of hunkers down into the building again, and he's quite happily walking in front of you, expecting you to follow. If any of you sort of pause, he stops and says, "Come, friends," and then he carries on. And he's as he's walking forwards, he's dramatically pointing out features of the building. So he'll say, "And this is the outside. The hearth is burning. It is bright and Light inside, you will enjoy it. These are the graveyards of my fellow Bellevues. We are all Bellevues here, by the way. And he takes you up to the front gate.
What do you mean by you are all Bellevues? It's not a name we've come across in our time here in Barovia.
We are all the family of the abbot. He has brought us all back to life.
Okay. This is some fucking Addams Family shit going on here, isn't it?
It's. I mean, you're quite right. Is this how you're all reacting? Is it sort of like, what the fuck's going on, and just walking forwards, or?
I'm just waiting for the abbot to be on the stairs of the chapel with his banjo. Ding 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 ding.
With his jar of moonshine next to him.
Now, I've
Yeah.
seen.
I think Brungrik would be quite guarded because obviously he has an opinion on religious houses and things like that and how things should be done.
I think Reman's spider senses, his heckles are up a bit because this is all this isn't even on his plane. This isn't.
Go on, Lou. I've seen your thinking face over the years, and I know. Go on, what are you thinking?
Whether to have a cracker or a bar of chocolate, personally.
Right. So as you move forwards, Otto, he introduced himself as Otto, and his sister as Siegfried. He moves up to the main gates, and he throws them open wide with this, again, grandiose gesture. Let me open the gates for you. They'll be now open. If you want to take Brungrik in, let me just grab the other. Why not? So in the main, I've skipped a few. So S10 Abbey entrance, 15-foot high curtain wall joins the Abbey's two wings. Behind its battlements, you can see behind the battlements above what looks like two guards, but as you get closer, you realise that it's two mannequins just with steel helmets on. But they're certainly not moving. The courtyard here, as it enters, there's a thick fog which fills the courtyard, and it swirls as if eager to escape. The courtyard is surrounded by a 15-foot high curtain wall on which stands several guards with their back to you, similar to what you've just seen. These are mannequins. The wooden doors to the north and the east lead to the Abbey's two wings. In the centre of the courtyard is a stone well fitted with an iron winch to which a rope and a bucket are attached. Along the perimeter, tucked under the overhanging wall, are several stone sheds with padlocked wooden doors. So these are... Let me take... Brungrik on inside. Where are you? That's it, dude. So you've got... These are all sort of sheds with padlocks on the side. And similarly here. That's the main entrance to the north wing. That's the main entrance to the main hall. Several stone sheds. Two wooden posts. So this is here. Two wooden posts pounded into the rocky earth have iron rings bolted in them, and chained to one of them is a short humanoid with bat wings and spider mandibles. Let me give you this. This is another mongrel type figure. This one is far more bestial than the other two, and it seems to be struggling against the restraints. These posts are in the ground. Chains are holding this winged cross between a bat and a spider. It's quite a hideous creature and clearly insane, struggling against the restraints. Otto pays it no heed whatsoever as it starts and looks up and sees you, and you can hear the occasional scream and hiss coming out from between these spider mandibles.
Otto, who is this? Another of your family members?
Indeed, this one is Mozina. She is not right.
What do you mean she's not right?
Do you have eyes? And he sort of gestures straight towards. She is not right. Not like I.
Otto, since I walked through the gates, nothing's been quite right.
Other than my
Why is she...
fabulous mane, of course.
But what is different about Marzina?
He will sort of say, it's all in here. She's not right in here.
I see. Well, she can't be blamed for that.
All right, Dr.
well,
Phil. Fucking hell.
what do you
Hey?
mean? What do you say,
It's
Lee?
all right, Dr. Phil. Calm down.
I've been a therapist to this session.
So Otto will step up to. He's sort of ignoring her now. As he steps past the well, he will say, "Do not go near the well while we're on the subject of not right. Do not go near the well." And he'll step around.
What's wrong with the well?
Up to the main building. Do you want to investigate the well?
Well, Brungrik would be like looking at him and looking at the well like a naughty child, like, oh, now I want to see what's in the well.
Well, we can send back Damon down to have a look.
Okay. You can, in fact. Bat Damon, I think he's got blind sense, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's completely dark down there.
Sounds like a good idea, to be fair, Mr. Miller.
Okay. Let's have a perception check from Bat Damon again.
Oh, is that another 20 plus 1, yeah?
Yes, please, mate. Yeah.
Nine.
With me. Ooh, okay, I'll beat it by 1. What I'm going to do, what's Bat Damon's AC?
1, I think, probably. Hold on.
AC it won't be 1. It'll be minimum.
It's usually minimum 10.
Yeah.
Extras. Armor class of 12.
12. Okay, so second hit. How many hit points?
1.
I think that is just 1. Okay. This was a wicked picture. I'm kind of glad that you went down. What Bat Damon's going to with his blind sense initially as you fly down and it's the sort of bat sort of spiraling round, you don't sense anything, and then all of a sudden as you're pinging round, you've got the circular well going down, and all of a sudden you ping a deformity, something that stands out. As something snatches towards Bat Damon, and your senses just pick out something. As this first claw misses, the second one, however, grabs Bat Damon, and it's dragged towards the mandibles as you get a clear view of what's doing it. As Bat Damon's head is bitten off by what's inside, and what you get is
the MVP, Dad.
Yeah, Bat Damon's gone, dude.
That's all right. I can make another one.
Yeah. Is that and this? I googled that image. That is freaky. So what you can see just before his head was bitten off is you see another of these mongrel folk. This one is 5 feet tall. It has a wiry, spindly build. It has 3 red spider eyes on the right side of its face, while the left side appears human. It has a frog's foot in place of a left hand, and a taloned crow's foot where its right foot should be. And it seems to be clinging to the wall without any problem whatsoever. From the vantage point that Bat Damon has offered you, if anyone was to lean over or look in this well, they're going to get their at the very least eyes torn out, head ripped off. Something nasty is going to happen.
I think we need a purge night.
Having Damian,
I think having seen all that, obviously I've lost my connection. and everyone is just looking at me, and I've just gone pale, and I'm just like, I ain't going in there.
That well is full of no.
Nice one. I like that.
Damian's probably going to look at Otto, and he's going to be like, "Why are you all pieced together like this?"
Why am I pieced together in this fabulous ensemble? The abbot will explain everything.
It's anything but fabulous.
Jealousy does not become you, my normal friend. And he's sort of preening himself as he's prancing forward.
As
I love this. I'm loving this.
as we enter the building where as we step into kind of this room where the well is there any iconography for a sun at all in there?
No. Not that you can see from where you are. You get the impression that this main building, there would be sort of fastenings on the wall that banners would have hung from a long, long time ago. There's nothing there at all. It's just brick wall, wooden doors, and ceiling. There's no ornamentation whatsoever.
Am I getting the holy spidey senses? Or would I expect that more in the building?
You'd expect that in the building, yeah. This would be sort of across the thresholds type thing. So, are we happy for Otto to take you up to the main building?
Mm-hmm.
So Otto will fling the doors open. So if you want to just hang fire there, the main hall, gentle sounding music trickles down from above, played on a single stringed instrument by some unseen master. The ground floor is one large 50-foot square room with arched leaded glass windows. A cauldron sits on an iron rack above the fire in a hearth, while above the fireplace mantel hangs a golden disc engraved with the symbol of the sun. In one corner is a wooden staircase which climbs to the upper level, while in another corner, a stone staircase descends into darkness. Several chairs surround a wooden table that stretches nearly the length of the room. Wooden dishware and golden candelabras are neatly arranged on the table, standing behind which is a young woman with alabaster skin, dressed in a torn and soiled red gown. Her auburn hair is neatly bound so as not to touch her soft shoulders. She seems lost in her own thoughts. Next to her is a handsome young man in brown monk's robes. He gently takes the woman by the hand. There's a painted wooden holy symbol that depicts the sun, hangs from a chain around his neck. He moves with the grace of a saint. This, from the description, is clearly the abbot. And as he holds out his hand and this woman takes his hand, I would like for all of you to make a group perception check, please.
He's got a son.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm going to roll for Valkyn.
I rolled pants.
Oh man, I rolled dog shit as well. I was too busy looking at the sun.
Gosh, so weird to actually be rolling on a character perception.
What is it when you cast a spell in anticipation of something happening?
You mean
Look.
Well, Reman is so freaked out by what he's seen in this well. He's on like flipping, God has left this place. I'm not a religious man, but there's no God here. And he just wants a firebolt in his hand that if anything he doesn't like comes near it, his way, and that he's just going to go. He's ready. He's all sus. He doesn't care what anyone else is going. This is house of God. He's like, God ain't here.
So you want to ready in action?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so normally when you ready in action, there's a sort of a specific trigger. So your trigger is if something's coming at you.
If something comes at me, you know, a sudden, you know, like a sudden lunge or like a sudden attack or something like that, it's just go in.
You're on high alert then, as it were.
Yeah.
Okay, let's have a look at your perceptions then. So we've got who's are we missing? Yeah, just yours, Jake.
Oh, I thought I'd rolled mine.
What did you get, mate?
I think I got a 7.
Ooh, okay. So 21. Yeah, yours wasn't a natural 20, Lou, was it? No, it was 17.
No.
Right, okay.
Hopefully the other guys are dragging me up.
I have a +8 to perception. I got a 12. I rolled pants.
Yeah, I mean your passive will bump it up. Okay. What I'm going to give you. Okay, I'm going to pop the Abbot up for you. This is.
I know why it didn't work because I rolled on the wrong bloody character sheet. I was looking at something else from another character that I played.
Oh, Jake.
Because my perception would have been higher, so it would have been a 9. If I'd used Damian's, because Damian's got a +5, whereas my other character's only got a +3, I think.
Okay, so Jake, your sun symbol is over the mantelpiece here. This is the Abbot, and this is the woman next to her. Now, these are sort of fan art. It's one of the joys for me is when I'm setting up these campaigns on map tools is googling the image that how I want to represent. So the golden glow from the Abbot's eyes is very much sort of a Greek Roman demigod type figure, human. Gold eyes, curly brown golden locks, a simple monk's robe with this sun holy symbol, and he's holding his hand out, and in his hand very delicately. But the reason I wanted the perception check is the movements of this woman. She is, from your distance, she is beautiful. She looks like a fine porcelain doll. Delicate features, fine wispy hair, dressed in rags, but her movements seem automated. As the Abbot turns to you, and in this voice that sounds magical, the very sound of his voice makes you, initially at least, feel peaceful and reverent as he says, "Welcome, gentlemen, to the Abbey." That's where we'll leave the session for tonight, and we'll pick this up when Johnson's back with us.
Suspicious.